We all have a story. Your story is not my story, and my story is not yours. However, we can find joy, hope, and emotional healing even through our most painful moments in life. Let's walk and take this journey of healing together, one step at a time, because your story does not define you. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Niesha here, and I am your host of Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast. And I just want to take a minute and say thank you. First of all, welcome back to this episode of Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast. And again, I want to say thank you as we are going to spend today closing out chapter 2025 and preparing our hearts, minds, and spirits for 2026. I just want to take a minute and say thank you for hanging in there with me. It's been over a year now since we've been here on Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast. And I just want to thank you and celebrate you for taking the time to pour into yourself. Because anytime that you listen to this episode, you are actually pouring into yourself and you're taking time to really be intentional about doing something to lift yourself up, to learn and to grow. And so I really just want to take a minute and say thank you for hanging in there with me and spending time with me. And tuning in on Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, I want to say welcome to you, and I want to encourage you to download this podcast, share it with your friends, share it with your coworkers, share it with somebody, because we are telling stories about our lives, very relatable stories that I'm sure that everybody can get something out of listening to this podcast. So feel free to share with your friend. I encourage you to do so. So today, as we are reflecting back, this episode is really something that's going to be sacred. It's going to be grounding, and it's going to be powerful, because one thing that we are going to do in this episode today is we're going to do a lot of reflection. What we're not going to do is it's not going to be about resolutions or pressure. It's basically just going to be a gentle space for us to reflect, release, and reimagine. I know that as we get towards the end of the year, which I cannot even believe that we are actually at the end of 2025, this year has gone by so fast. I want you to know that, people make New Year's resolutions, and that is great. There's nothing wrong with that. However, I want you to know that don't feel the pressure that you have to make a New Year's resolution. However, know that you can do a lot of reflecting, looking back on 2025, celebrating those highlights, celebrating things that you have accomplished and things that were celebrations for you. And then also reflecting on those things that maybe were a little bit challenging and maybe things that you want to do different. So I want to encourage you, if you can, I want you to grab a journal. And if you are not in a space to be able to do so, I want you to come back and listen to this episode. And I want you to grab a journal, and I want you to find something to write with or find something to write on. Open your app in your phone, your notes app, and take notes. I just want you to be able to jot some things down, because I'm going to be asking a lot of reflective questions that are going to challenge you to really sit and think about these questions, and I want you to answer them. So as you listen to this episode, I want you to really be intentional about really reflecting back on the questions that I'm going to ask you. And I really, really want you to put some thought into that and really use this reflective moment to think about things that you want to do better in 2026, or even some goals that you want to accomplish. So remember that every year that passed by, it holds multitudes. The year holds joy, growth, confusion, sometimes surprises, wins, losses, lessons. And oftentimes we rush past our own revolution. But today, I really want to encourage you and challenge you to just take a minute and slow down. I want you to take a minute and just really slow down. Don't feel like you have to rush and reflect about what 2025 brought you, whether that was good or bad. Because again, remember, life happens to us all. And I'm sure that we all have experienced something throughout the year that has challenged us or that has pushed us in some kind of way that maybe we weren't prepared for. We maybe also experienced many life changes that were very unexpected, and our life may have took a turn for either the better or either for, I won't say the worst, but maybe it took a turn in a space that we really didn't expect to happen throughout this time and space. Also, again, life may have served us a lot of positive things and a lot of celebrations and a lot of wins. And so we want to acknowledge it all because the good and the bad helps us to grow. I know that sometimes we always just want to embrace the good things that are happening in life, but we also need to embrace some of those things that were challenging because those are the things that push us and that challenge us to grow. So again, get your notebook, get your journal, get your notes app out, and get ready so we can go on this reflective journey together. So I really want to start off with light about those positive things and reflection on the joys of 2025. And so I want you to think back on the moments that made you smile. No matter how small or no matter how big. And I want you to think about and I want you to ask yourself, what brought you joy this year? What experiences, people, or opportunities lifted you this year? And when did you feel most like yourself? I really want you to think about that. And I want you to think about those joys and those memories. Again, what brought you joy this year? What experiences, people, or opportunities lifted you? And when did you feel most like yourself? So now, let's honor the harder parts of 2025. And when I say harder parts, I do mean things that were a little bit challenging for you in 2025. What challenged you in 2025? What stretched you or changed you or even broke you open in 2025? What did you learn about your capacity, your boundaries, or your needs? Remember, we don't want to just honor the joys, but we also want to honor the harder parts. So again, what challenged you in 2025? What stretched you, changed you, or even broke you open in 2025? And what did you learn about your capacity, your boundaries, or your needs? Remember that you survived every day of a year that may have been demanding and may have demanded things from you that maybe you could not deliver. And what I want you to think about this is that this is not something that's small. You being able to survive every day of the year and make it through it to the end of the year is a huge success and is a huge need for celebration. So don't minimize the challenges that you experienced in 2025 because again, remember, these are the things that are going to break you, that are going to help you to grow. These are things that broke you, and these are the things that are also going to help you to grow. One of the things that I want you to remember is reflection is so powerful, but what's even more powerful is integration and where transformation begins in our lives. And we experience transformation by going through the challenges that we experience through life. And so all of it plays a part into our growth. And we don't want to forget that, right? So as we think about integration, I want you to ask yourself, what did 2025 teach you about who you are becoming? What habits, relationships, or environments help you to grow? What drained you or held you back in 2025? And what are you ready to release before stepping into 2026? Again, What did 2025 teach you about who you are becoming? What habits, relationships, or environments help you grow? What drained you or held you back? And what are you ready to release before stepping into 2026? Look, y'all, these are some powerful, impactful questions that I'm going to go back and sit with myself and that I've actually already sat with. But I am going to continue to sit with these questions because I really, really want to do some reflection on my 2025. And I really want to be intentional about 2026. So let's shift gently toward the year ahead, not with pressure, remember, but with curiosity. Let's look forward to 2026 with curiosity and think about what is really going to come in 2026. There has been so many things that have happened in our world in 2025. And I know some of these things have weighed on us really heavy because even though they may not have affected us directly, they've also affected us indirectly because whatever happens in our world affects us in some form or fashion. So as we think about 2026 and we think about 2026 with curiosity, I want to ask you some visiting questions. And those questions are, what do you want to feel more out of in 2026? What do you want to prioritize for real and not just in theory? Okay, y'all, what do you really want to prioritize in 2026? And what parts of yourself are you ready to honor again? What did you lose maybe in previous years, but in 2026, you want to learn how to honor those parts of you again? And what dreams or goals have you been carrying quietly that deserves space to grow in 2026? Again, let's think about those visioning questions, y'all. What do you want to feel more of in 2026? What do you want to prioritize for real, y'all? What do you really want to prioritize in 2026? And what parts of yourself are you ready to honor again? What dreams or goals have you been carrying quietly that deserve space to grow in 2026? I want you to think about those questions, y'all. And as you begin to plan, I want you to ask yourself, what is one habit you want to build in 2026? What is one boundary you need to set in 2026? What is one goal that scares you a little bit, but in the best way? And what small action can you take in January to begin your 2026? Look, y'all, I am challenging y'all for real. I hope you are being so intentional about writing these questions down and that you are going to really take time to really think about them and that you're going to do this reflection and you're going to be intentional about looking forward to your 2026. Remember, not with pressure, but with curiosity. So again, what is one habit you want to build in 2026? What is one boundary you need to set in 2026? What is one goal that scares you a little bit, but in the best way? And what small action can you take in January to begin in 2026? So I want you to take a minute wherever you are, if you're able to. If you're driving on the road, I don't want you to do a part of this activity, but wherever you are, if you are in a safe space and you are somewhere where you could just take a minute, I want you to close your eyes if you can. Take a deep breath, inhale slowly, and exhale. And I want you to picture yourself 1 year from today in December of 2026. I want you to picture the version of you who has grown, who has tried, who has rested, who has learned, and who has heal parts of you. And I want you to ask yourself, what does that version of you look like? What are they grateful that you did? What is one of those things that it is challenging you to do in the future? What are those areas that you see that you feel like, yes, I've done great, I've mastered this, or either I've progressed in this area, but there are things that I look forward to even more to grow and to learn and to evolve. I want you to sit and I really want you to think about those questions. I really want you to see yourself in the future. And I want you to see positive things about yourself, even in the midst of you're also going to experience challenges in 2026. However, I want you to see yourself in a space where you've learned and you've grown and you've evolved and you've learned how to master handling these things based on what you have accomplished and based on the reflection and the intentional planning and curiosity of 2026. I want you to take all of this into consideration. And I really want you to really think about how 2025 has shaped you. Do some honest reflection with yourself. You don't even have to share this exercise with anybody else. However, this is something that's personal, and this is something that I really want to challenge you to do. Think about how 2025 has shaped you, and I want you to think about how 2026, what will it invite you into? What are you curious about? What are you excited about? What are you grateful about? What are you thanking God about? Are you giving him grace and space to give him the glory for helping you to really push through and make it through 2025, even during those difficult times? And are you celebrating and embracing the joys and the challenges as well? Because remember, these are things that all shape you. Now, as you guys know, I always start off the podcast every time asking you what your vibe is for the day. And today I did intentionally not start the podcast off that way because I really wanted to hold space for that question for the end of this episode. And I want you to just think about your vibe, not just for today, but I want you to think about your vibe over the past year of 2025. How has your vibe been? I always encourage you all to know that you can shift your mood, that you can change your vibe, that you can reset, and that you can reground yourself as many times as you need to. And as we end out 2025 and we go into 2026, I want you to take that same mentality with you. Because remember, don't end your year with a vibe of disappointment because maybe things didn't go the way that you went. Remember, every day that we get to wake up and that we get to breathe the breath of life, we have a chance and we have an opportunity to get it right and to make it better. Maybe we didn't make the mark the day before, but we have the opportunity that when we wake up, we have grace and we have the space to be able to start all over and do it again. Life sometimes hands us things that maybe we didn't ask for, or either sometimes we allow ourselves to get into situations that we caused upon ourselves. But remember, each day that we wake up, we have another chance and we have another opportunity to try all over again and to get it right and to make things better. So as you continue to do your reflection, as you continue to answer your questions, and as you continue to challenge yourself to answer your questions, I want to encourage you that if you feel okay with this, feel free to reach out to me. Share with me how this activity really helped you and share with me your intentionality about doing this activity. and share with me some of those things that you are curious about and that you are excited about and that you are looking for to in 2026. Look, y'all, this episode is blessing me and it's helping me. And like I said, I've sat with the questions, but I'm going to continue to sit with the questions because I want to do some more intentional reflection and some intentional planning for 2026. It's been a beautiful year. God has been grateful to us all. He's bestowed so many blessings upon us. And I just want to, again, thank you for spending 2025 with me, helping me to grow and evolve and learn as I continue to post episodes of Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast, as your host. Thank you for spending this reflective time with me today. And if this episode really gave you something to think about, remember, feel free to share it with me, but most importantly, share it with someone else who you feel may need to take a moment and pause. This is something that is so impactful that can help us, not just today, but as we continue on our lifelong journey of healing, of growing, and of going through challenges. I'm excited about 2026. I'm looking forward to 2026, even in the midst of what may be challenging and what may push me to learn and grow. And I hope that you are doing the same. So with that, Dr. Niesha here. And I just want to say, I'll see you in the new year where our new chapters will begin.